What is up and happy Mental Push Up Monday. Today, friends, we are going to talk about practice. Not a game, we're talking about practice. So, about a year ago, I was in this speech contest. Now, the first go round, I really didn't do any preparation. The day before, I probably said the speech about 3 times for about an hour. Like, that was it. So, I go in there, the first stage, and I win the contest. So that following Monday, I had a conversation with Coach K, and he was like, so tell me about your preparation for this speech. I was like, yeah, I did about an hour, and yeah, I just went in there and did it. That was it. So he talks about effort. Like, we had this conversation about effort. He says, if this is what you really want to do, then you're going to have to start putting in some effort. So so over the next few weeks, I commit to, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to practice. Before I go to bed, I'm going to practice. And so I just started about twice a day. I practice it several times, make adjustments, record myself, all those things. And so I get to the contest, like the next stage in the contest, it was just like the district. And I'm just like, okay, I have no expectations. Let's just see what happens. So I go into this contest and I win. I'm shocked. I'm like, whoa, I wasn't even expecting that. And then the feedback I get from people who had saw me a month ago were like, wow, like, what did you do? Like, oh my gosh, this was so much better. What'd you do? And it came down to, I said, oh, I just practiced. Like, that was it. As I won that stage, then I made it to the regional. And so my practice game had to go to another level. I was practicing in the morning. I was practicing in the car. And when I got to the regional, I didn't win, but I did place. I got 3rd place. And at first, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, yo, I should have won. But the truth of the matter is, when I look back on the experience, what it taught me was the importance of practice. And I think that's so relative as we think about ourselves as educators, because I always say 3rd period gets the best lesson in the world, because 1st and 2nd period, that's when I get my practice in. But what would happen if before we even jumped into our lessons, we were off stage and we were practicing what we wanted to facilitate to our students, especially as we think about new standards, new requirements, and the level that is expected for ourselves and for our students? It can be quite challenging. So today, guys, I want to talk about the importance of practice. Number 1, practice equals new habits. So think about habits that you have. You say, oh, I put my right leg in my pants for my left leg. These are things that we do not have to think about. They're just ingrained in who we are and how we show up. And when I think about that last phase of the contest, I'm in this room full of 400 people, and it seemed very natural to me. Why? Because I had practiced. When I was riding in my car, practicing, saying this speech, I pulled my phone out on my stand. I'm saying my speech to my camera. I'm saying my speech to my mirror. I'm saying my speech in my Toastmasters group. I'm doing all these things to develop the skill of speaking. And it showed up when I was in that room. But if I didn't practice, I would have freaked out. I would have been scared. All these things, I wouldn't have got the job done because I didn't practice. Which leads to the second point. We practice how we play, and when we get that opportunity to practice, we get to work out the kinks. We get to figure out, like, oh, I need to make this adjustment and things like that before we get in front of our students, or we get in front of that room full of 400 people. But because we have done the preparation, it builds our confidence. And lastly, as always, we know the level up is coming. We have an opportunity to become, you hear that one more time, become an expert. And I say that because it's not about talent. Talent alone is never enough, right? Like, I know I'm talented in some things, but ultimately it's about practicing, putting in the work. 2 things I'll say here. Will Smith has a quote that says that success is not something that's built overnight. It's built by beating on your craft daily. So just continue to practice and working on your skill. It's not about just, oh, I'm just great at this one thing. I have to work at it to become an expert, to become great. And the second part of that is 10,000 hours. I was at a teaching lab workshop last year, and I remember the founder said, people become great at things because he said let me reframe it. He said, to become great at things, it requires at least 10,000 hours. I think it's in a book or a quote or something like that. But that was just really key for me, because as we talked about several weeks ago, this is not about being an expert tomorrow. It's about putting in the hours and the work to become an expert. In closing, I've never been the most talented individual. In high school, the recruiter said I was too short and I couldn't shoot. Now, how are you playing on anybody's basketball team if you cannot do at least shoot the basketball? But it was my willingness and commitment to practice. When I got to college, I was just committed to getting in the gym. That was it. And just about everything I've done, it's been similar. It's not that I'm just like this super talented individual. I'm just willing to practice and I'm willing to learn. And as we think about this week and what Kobe Bryant truly represents to the game of basketball and just really life, it was his commitment to practice. Yes, he was talented. But the reason that he will be legendary, the reason that he was able to show up in those games and do that fadeaway and to hit those game-winning shots, because he was willing to get in the gym and practice. Not a game, practice.